Let's talk about something that may seem harmless at first glance. Clutter. Now, I want you to think about your bedroom for a moment. Your most personal space, the one place where your body and your mind are meant to find rest, peace, and renewal. Yet so often this sacred space is filled with things we don't need, don't use, and haven't looked at in months. Some of us even keep things just in case: old clothes, expired lotions, broken jewelry, boxes full of who knows what under the bed, drawers that barely close, and we call it normal. But I want to challenge that today. Clutter isn't just physical mess. It's symbolic. It's a mirror of our internal world. When your bedroom is crowded with things that no longer serve you, that energy clings to you. It lingers in your spirit. You start to feel stuck, heavy, uninspired. You may not realize it, but clutter quietly speaks a language. And what it's telling your subconscious is, I don't trust that there will be more. Why do we hold on to a pair of jeans that hasn't fit in 5 years? Or an old phone charger for a phone we don't even own anymore? Because at some level, we're operating from fear. A fear that says, I might need this someday. That fear is rooted in a poverty mindset, and what you keep in your physical space reinforces what you believe internally. It keeps you tied to the past, and poverty thrives where there is no room for progress. And let me ask you this: how can abundance flow into a space that's already full of the past? How can prosperity find its way to you if your surroundings tell the universe that you're still hanging on to what no longer belongs in your life? Let's go deeper. That stack of unread books on your nightstand, it's not just clutter. It might be a reminder of guilt, of what you should be doing, of the time you think you don't have. That pile of receipts in the drawer, it might be echoing fear around finances. That old sweater you never wear but can't throw away because of the memories attached. It might be reinforcing a reluctance to let go of who you used to be. Everything in your space carries energy. And when your bedroom becomes a storage unit of someday items, you begin to live in the emotional weight of delay and scarcity. Clutter slows you down. It keeps your vision clouded. You can't dream clearly in chaos. You can't rest fully when you're sleeping next to the emotional debris of your own fear and resistance. Now, I'm not saying everything in your room has to be minimalist or perfect, but everything in that space should feel like it belongs in your next chapter, not the one you've already lived. You should walk into your bedroom and feel a sense of openness, clarity, and possibility. Your environment should reflect where you are going, not where you're stuck. Clearing clutter is more than cleaning. It's a spiritual act. When you release what you no longer need, you're declaring to life, I'm ready for more. You create a vacuum, and life abhors a vacuum. It rushes to fill it. But what it fills it with depends on the energy you're putting out. If you clear space with a sense of trust, gratitude, and expectancy, then what flows in will match that vibration. Some of us are praying for breakthrough, for opportunity, for financial increase, but we're sleeping in rooms full of resistance. We ask for new beginnings while holding on to symbols of limitation. That contradiction blocks blessings. It confuses your spirit. But when you begin to remove the unnecessary, the useless, and the outdated from your sacred space, you begin to align your outer world with the inner one you're trying to build. Don't underestimate the power of removing a box from under your bed, or clearing a dresser top, or letting go of that dress that still has the tags on it from 3 years ago. These are more than actions, they are declarations. They say, I'm no longer attached to lack. I am making room for abundance. I trust that what's coming is better than what I'm releasing. If you want to invite more wealth, more clarity, and more peace into your life, begin where you sleep. Remove the clutter, and you'll be amazed at what begins to rise in you. Clear the space, and prosperity will find you. Now, let's talk about something else that often goes unnoticed in our bedrooms but has a powerful influence on the energy we carry: broken things. Yes, broken lamps, drawers that don't slide properly, alarm clocks that haven't worked in months, that one shoe with the worn-out sole that you've been meaning to fix. We see them so often that we stop noticing them. But just because you've stopped seeing something doesn't mean it's stopped speaking. Broken things whisper a message into your spirit every single day, and that message is one of disorder, dysfunction, and delay. You may not be hearing it with your ears, but your spirit is absorbing it. Every time you reach for that dresser knob that's loose, or ignore the light bulb that flickers, something inside you is learning to settle for what's not working. It's learning to tolerate what's beneath you, and over time that shapes how you show up in life. You see, nothing in your environment is neutral. Everything either supports your forward motion or holds you back. And broken items, no matter how small, are symbols of neglect. They're a quiet agreement with stagnation. They're saying, this is good enough. I can live with this. And the problem with that mindset is it doesn't stay contained to your bedroom. It spreads into your choices, your finances, your relationships. You start lowering your standards without realizing it. You start operating from a place of survival instead of vision. Now listen, I'm not talking about being materialistic or perfectionistic. I'm talking about spiritual alignment. Because when you allow broken things to remain in your space, you are sending a message, first to yourself, then to life, that you don't believe things can be whole again. And that belief begins to create your reality. You stop expecting wholeness and you stop pursuing it. Think about it. You wouldn't go into a meeting with a cracked phone screen and a broken pen and expect to close $1 million deal. Why? Because broken tools reflect broken preparation. And the energy of what surrounds you becomes the energy you carry with you. That broken fan in the corner, that's not just a repair project you haven't gone round to. It's a metaphor. It's a reflection of energy that once moved freely, now stuck. And as long as it remains there, unmended and ignored, so too does a part of your spirit stay stuck. You're telling your subconscious, this is as far as we go. We cope, we don't correct. Some of us are praying for open doors, for abundance, for breakthrough, and yet we're living in spaces that reflect the opposite. We're surrounded by broken mirrors, broken handles, broken expectations. And it's not about the object, it's about the message that object is reinforcing. When you remove or repair what's broken, you're not just fixing a thing, you're restoring a part of your power. You're reclaiming your authority over your atmosphere. You're saying to your life, I refuse to agree with dysfunction. I choose alignment. I choose restoration. That's a powerful statement to make, and you don't need a microphone to say it. Just fix what's not working. Remove what no longer functions. You don't need to overthink it. Just act in alignment with where you want to go. Sometimes we confuse endurance with faith. We think that living with less or settling for broken things is somehow noble. But faith is not about tolerating brokenness. Faith is about expecting wholeness, even when you haven't seen it yet. Faith is repairing the lamp because you believe your life is worth living in the light. Faith is removing the broken chair because you believe there is a better place to sit coming your way. Your bedroom should be a reflection of how you see yourself. Not just physically, but energetically. If something is broken, don't just walk around it. Don't keep telling yourself you'll get to it later. That later is often a form of resistance, a way we delay our own healing, our own growth. Because when you start repairing the things around you, you will feel the shift within you. Suddenly you start believing that maybe, just maybe, what's broken inside of you can be made whole too. And that's the invitation tonight. Stop agreeing with brokenness. Start choosing wholeness. Not just in theory, but in practice. One drawer, one bulb, one broken zipper at a time. Clean it, fix it, or remove it, and watch the atmosphere of your life begin to change. Wholeness begins with what you choose to tolerate. Let's talk about something that seems simple, harmless even, but carries more spiritual weight than most people realize. Mirrors, specifically mirrors that face the bed. Now, I know what you might be thinking. It's just a mirror. It reflects things. What harm could it possibly do? But hear me clearly. What seems innocent in the physical can carry great consequence in the spiritual. You see, your bedroom isn't just a room. It's a sanctuary. It's the place where your body comes to rest, but more than that, it's where your spirit recalibrates. It's where your dreams unfold, where your thoughts soften. It's where vulnerability meets restoration. So what you allow to face you while you sleep matters. The mirrors are not passive objects. They reflect energy, they double it, they bounce it, they move it in directions it was never meant to go. And when a mirror directly faces your bed, it does more than show your reflection. It disrupts the energy your body is trying to settle into. Your nervous system may not understand what's happening, but your spirit does. Your sleep is lighter, your dreams more chaotic. You wake up feeling like you've been watched or drained. That's no coincidence. That's the mirror echoing unrest into your most vulnerable hours. Now, I'm not saying mirrors are bad, but placement matters. Mirrors magnify. So if they're facing your bed, ask yourself, what exactly are they magnifying? Is it peace? Or is it confusion? Is it abundance? Or is it the clutter and emotional residue we talked about earlier? Because mirrors don't filter, they don't pick and choose, they reflect it all. And when they reflect you while you sleep, your most unguarded state, they are holding up a version of you that is incomplete. That version doesn't speak of your future. It echoes your current state back to you again and again. It keeps you tied to where you are. Some traditions teach that mirrors facing the bed steal your energy. Whether you take that literally or symbolically, the truth remains. Anything that interrupts your ability to fully rest is robbing you of power. That's not just about sleep. That's about clarity, direction, provision. Because when your rest is shallow, your perception becomes clouded. You start missing opportunities, doubting yourself, reacting instead of responding. And all of that begins in the atmosphere where you rest. Your bedroom should be a place of stillness, not surveillance. You should feel covered, not exposed. But when a mirror faces the bed, it creates a sense, subtle but real, that you're being observed. It doesn't let your spirit fully settle. It invites performance into a place that was meant for privacy. It makes you conscious of your image, even in sleep. And that awareness chips away at the peace that rest is supposed to bring. Now here's where it gets deeper. Mirrors not only reflect what is, they can also double what's present. If you've got chaos in your room, the mirror is doubling it. If you're sleeping next to financial stress, emotional tension, spiritual doubt, those energies are being amplified. A mirror doesn't judge. It simply reflects and returns. So if you're trying to shift into a new season of peace, of clarity, of provision, but the room you're sleeping in is reinforcing what you're trying to leave behind, you're going to feel that resistance night after night. Some of you have been wrestling with sleepless nights, unexplained anxiety, fatigue that sleep doesn't fix. And you've looked for solutions everywhere but your environment. But what if part of your breakthrough isn't in what you're doing, it's in what's surrounding you while you do nothing, while you sleep, while you lie still? What if the mirror across from your bed has been silently echoing back a version of life you're trying to outgrow? This isn't about superstition. This is about spiritual alignment, about understanding that everything in your room is either supporting your vision or sabotaging it. And when you remove that mirror or shift it to another wall, you're not just moving furniture, you're making a declaration. You're saying this space will no longer reflect confusion. This space will no longer amplify what drains me. This space is now a portal for peace. That's a powerful decision. Because the moment you start rearranging your room to match your intention, the universe responds. God responds. Your spirit responds. Everything starts to move in harmony with what you've decided you deserve. And you begin to wake up, not just from sleep, but into purpose. So if there's a mirror facing your bed tonight, I want you to think about what it's been reflecting back to you. And if that reflection doesn't align with your next level, your breakthrough, your peace, then it's time to move it. Not tomorrow, not someday, tonight. Because when you remove what disturbs your rest, you invite in everything that restores your life. Peace begins when you stop reflecting what you're trying to heal from. Let me speak to something subtle, something that many overlook, but it carries more weight in the spiritual realm than most of us realize. Dead plants and artificial flowers. Yes, I'm serious. That little wilted plant on your windowsill or that fake bouquet collecting dust in the corner. Those things are not as harmless as they seem. In fact, they could be quietly working against the very abundance you're trying to invite into your life. Now I know, we often keep these things because they're pretty, or because someone gave them to us, or because we think they add a nice touch to the room. But in the spirit, in the energy of a space, everything speaks, everything holds vibration, and dead things, they carry the energy of decay, of endings, of what used to be alive but is no longer. And when you allow that into your bedroom, the most intimate, sacred space in your home, you're allowing the presence of decline to live beside you. You may think you're just too busy to water it, that you'll get around to replacing it soon, but in the spiritual, there's no just, there's no casual. Your space mirrors your mindset, and a dead plant sitting in the corner is saying something about what you've accepted. It says, this is okay, this is enough. But what is enough for you? Lifeless things? Withered leaves? A symbol of something that once grew but no longer has breath? That's not just a plant dying. That's a message being spoken into your atmosphere. And the message is stagnation. And then there are the artificial flowers. I know they don't wilt. I know they're low maintenance. But hear me. They are lifeless. They are plastic imitations of what God created to live and breathe and grow. And anything that imitates life but carries no actual energy of life is a spiritual contradiction. It might look good on the outside, but it's empty on the inside. And if you surround yourself with things that are pretty but dead, you begin to normalize that energy in your own life. We don't always realize how these small choices add up, but they do. You allow one symbol of lifelessness in your room, and slowly the atmosphere begins to match it. You start to feel tired for no reason. You lose a bit of motivation. Your ideas feel dull. The opportunities you once attracted don't seem to find their way to you anymore. And you think it's just stress or timing. But often, it's your environment, reflecting the energy you've allowed in. You see, life is meant to flow. Growth is meant to continue. But you cannot grow where you've allowed death to dwell. You cannot step into newness while clinging to what has already finished its cycle. That's not how prosperity works. That's not how breakthrough happens. You have to make space for life to live. Now, I want to be clear. This isn't about guilt. This is about awareness. It's about choosing to honor your space and your spirit enough to remove what no longer gives life. It's about understanding that everything you allow into your bedroom is shaping your internal reality, night after night, moment by moment. And if you are serious about shifting into a new season of peace, of purpose, of provision, then you have to start surrounding yourself with what reflects that season. A live plant, even a small one, carries the vibration of growth, of breath, of natural movement. It's not just decor, it's a declaration. It says, I believe in nurturing. I believe in tending. I believe in increase. When you water that plant, you're watering your own capacity to steward life. You're participating in a cycle of care that reflects your readiness to receive more. That's powerful. That's spiritual. And for those who say, I don't have a green thumb, hear me. This isn't about perfection. It's about intention. You don't need a jungle in your room. You just need one thing that is alive, one thing that grows, one thing that reminds your spirit every time you look at it that life is still moving, and so are you. But if it dies, let it go. If it no longer grows, remove it. Don't let your bedroom become a resting place for what once lived. That is not the energy of abundance. That is not the atmosphere of a person who is moving forward. And I know you're here tonight because you're ready to move forward. So take a look around your room. That plant that's lost all its color, that bouquet of plastic roses that have gathered more dust than love, those aren't just decorations. They're agreements. And you have the power to change the agreement. Choose life. Choose energy that breathes. Choose symbols of the future, not remnants of the past. When you surround yourself with life, life will begin to surround you. Let's lean into something that's often hiding in plain sight, unused electronics and old gadgets. That drawer full of tangled cords, outdated phones, broken headphones, and chargers for devices you don't even own anymore. That old TV in the corner you haven't turned on in 2 years. The printer collecting dust that hasn't worked since before the pandemic. We keep these things because we think, maybe I'll need this one day. But let me tell you something. Someday's a trap. And that kind of energy, it clogs your atmosphere. It invites delay. It attracts poverty. Now, I'm not talking about living in fear of technology. I'm talking about alignment. I'm talking about what happens when you allow your space to fill up with items that no longer serve you, especially things meant to transmit power, communicate, or connect, but are now completely inactive. Unused electronics carry a specific energy. They are objects designed for movement, for exchange, for input and output. But when they're just sitting there, silent, broken, outdated, they become stagnant. And stagnation is where abundance goes to die. Your bedroom is where your mind should rest. It's where your body should restore. So when you surround yourself with electronics that no longer function, you're creating an atmosphere of disconnection. These objects were once vessels of creativity and connection, but now they're nothing more than reminders of what used to work. And that's a dangerous energy to sleep beside, because your spirit picks up on it. It begins to associate your personal space with inactivity, with failure, with things that are no longer evolving. Some of us are trying to move forward in life while being surrounded by the past. You're trying to upgrade your thinking, but you've got the old phone you used during one of the hardest seasons of your life still sitting in a drawer. You're trying to grow your income, but there's a broken laptop in the closet filled with memories of struggle, of lost work, of days when you didn't believe in yourself. And you think these things don't matter, but they do. They hold energy. They hold memory. And your space holds onto it even when you've forgotten. You see, abundance isn't just about money. It's about movement. It's about flow. It's about making room for the new while honoring what was, but not clinging to it. Old gadgets, unused devices, they act like anchors. They keep you tethered to outdated systems, both in your environment and in your mind. And I'm telling you tonight, you cannot walk into the next level of your life while dragging around the weight of old tools that no longer have power. There's something else too. Many of these items, even when off, still carry energetic noise. TVs especially bring in frequencies even when you're not watching. If it's in your bedroom and it's not serving your rest, it's serving your distraction. It's serving as a portal for static. And let me tell you, static is the enemy of spiritual clarity. When you're trying to discern direction, when you're trying to build something sacred, you need stillness, not interference. Your environment either invites peace or it pollutes it. And peace is expensive. It's not loud. It doesn't fight for your attention like your phone does. Peace is subtle, but it's powerful. And if your bedroom is filled with blinking lights, unused gadgets, or that blinking router you've stopped noticing, then you've made space for noise where there should be rest. And the price you pay is clarity. Some of you have been asking why you feel tired even after 8 hours of sleep, why your mind races when your body lies still, why your ideas feel distant. The answer might not be in your schedule. It might be in your surroundings. It might be in the outdated tech that's been quietly holding you in an energetic loop. Because what you allow to sit dormant around you will eventually echo inside of you. And what sits in your room long enough starts sitting in your spirit. You want new ideas? Clear the cords. You want financial flow? Remove the broken devices. You want alignment? Let go of the electronics that no longer belong. Because when you create space for life to flow, life will meet you there. God can't pour into what you won't make room for. So give your space a reset, not just to be tidy, but to be tuned in to peace, to progress, to purpose. Remove the things that don't power you anymore, and your life will begin to recharge. Let's talk about something that seems so ordinary, so harmless, that most people never question it. But in the spirit, it can hold the power to keep your life in a cycle of lack. I'm talking about keeping shoes under your bed. Not on a rack, not tucked neatly in a closet, but stashed underneath your bed, hidden in the shadows, out of sight, but never out of spiritual reach. Now I know what you're thinking. What does it matter where I keep my shoes? But I want you to hear this with your spirit. The placement of things in your environment reveals the placement of things in your life. When you store something under your bed, especially something that's walked through dirt, dust, hardship, it carries the energy of where it's been. Shoes are symbolic. They walk you through seasons. They carry the imprint of every place you've stepped. And when you place them under your bed, where your soul comes to rest, you allow the residue of where you've been to rest with you. That is not the posture of someone stepping into abundance. There's nothing accidental in the spirit. Everything carries a message. Your bed is sacred space. It's not just where you sleep, it's where you dream, where revelation visits, where rest renews. It's the place where the unseen realm meets your vulnerability, and you must guard that space. You must be intentional about what lives beneath it, because whatever is under you while you sleep speaks into your life. It may not have a voice, but it has energy. And energy doesn't lie. Shoes under the bed represent unresolved journeys, delayed destinations, paths walked that haven't been released. Some of you are stuck, not because you lack vision, but because your environment is tethering you to old roads. You're trying to move forward, but every night your body lies above the very thing that walked through old pain, past failure, rejection, regret, and that energy is still speaking. It's still present, still influencing the atmosphere of your rest. And let me say this, disorder under the bed becomes disorder in the spirit. Clutter in the unseen places of your room leads to clutter in the unseen places of your heart. When we shove things under the bed, we do it because we don't want to deal with them. It's a place to hide what we don't want to see. But spiritually, what's hidden still has influence. You cannot walk in divine clarity when there are unresolved items beneath your resting place. And it's not just about physical shoes. It's about what they represent. The relationship you walked through that still lives in the energy of those souls. The job you left but haven't let go of in your spirit. The season that was painful and the shoes that carried you through it are still right there beneath you, whispering stories of survival when you're trying to live in overflow. You can't walk in newness while you're sleeping over reminders of the old. If you knew what kind of release would come from clearing under your bed, you'd do it tonight. Because removing those shoes isn't just about cleanliness. It's a prophetic act. You are saying, I release what carried me through pain. I bless what brought me this far. But I don't need it resting under me anymore. It's a shift. And shifts don't need fanfare. They just need obedience. The enemy doesn't need chaos to win in your life. He just needs you to settle for little compromises. He just needs you to normalize spiritual disorder, to keep sleeping over things that represent confusion, to stay unaware of how the physical and the spiritual are connected. But I'm telling you tonight, awareness is your weapon, and alignment is your breakthrough. When you remove those shoes, you're making room for peace to rise, for rest to settle, for dreams to flow without interference. You're clearing a path, even in your sleep, for heaven to meet earth in your life, for ideas to come without distraction, for healing to visit without delay. That's what alignment does. It invites divine order, and divine order always attracts abundance. So if you've been wrestling in your sleep, feeling spiritually sluggish, unclear, disconnected, it might not be what's happening in your schedule. It might be what's sitting in the shadows beneath you. Don't ignore it. Don't minimize it. Look under your bed tonight. Bless what you find. Let it go. And create a space that aligns with the future you've been praying for. Because when you remove the weight of where you've been, you make space to walk freely into where you're going.